So, hello everybody, welcome. My name is Dr. Peter Bloomfield, and I'm the convener for this presentation. The title of our presentation is Methodologies and Strategies for Sustainable Mental Health.
Recording in progress.
Mind-body approach. Again, my name is Peter Bloomfield, and I'm an emergency physician. I'm based out of Los Angeles. I work in academia, and I work in the community as an emergency physician, and I'm also here representing KAILASA Nityananda Hindu University. And we're very excited to give this presentation. If anyone has questions, you're free to ask in the chat. Just our time is a little bit tight, so if we're not able to get to your questions, we really strongly invite you to contact us afterwards. We're very excited about what we're talking about and what we're going to be presenting, and we're very happy to interact further. So this is the agenda of our presentation. We're going to have Dr. Muktananda, who's an AI expert, is going to give an intro to mental health. Followed by that, I'm going to be giving a talk on studies that have been done on a mind-body approach to mental health. This is connected to and run through Nityananda Hindu University, and I think it's really groundbreaking, and I'm super excited to talk about it. Then Muktananda is going to give an unclutching meditation, which is, this presentation is going to be part lecture and part experiential as well. So you should come out of here both informed and very blissfully relaxed. That will be our goal. If we achieve that, we've met our goals. Then Dr. Aranke, who's a practicing neurologist, who's connected with Nichandeshwara Paramashiva Hindu Temple in Houston, and Dr. Sandeep Pandov, who's a hospitalist connected with Johns Hopkins, Howard County, and Dr. Nirmala Shivaji, who's a practicing anesthesiologist, who's connected with Nityananda Meditation Academy, are going to be giving a talk on neuroscientific approach to mental health, and then who's a urogynecologist at the Women's Health Excellence Center. And she's going to talk about women's mental health issues. Then Dr. Patel, who's a psychiatrist who's representing KAILASA Los Angeles and also practicing in the community, is going to talk about mental health and children's issues. And then finally, I'll give a conclusion and a call to action. And for everyone who is able to stay, we're going to have a kriya, which is a technique for stress reduction. That'll be really nice. So it should be a very enriching and enlightening experience for everyone. And we're very happy to have you here globally. So we think it's very perfectly aligned with this summit. And we're extremely grateful to the UN General Assembly for organizing this and for having us here. Just a couple estimates, 2.5 to 5 trillion US dollars annual cost of mental health. That's looking at direct costs of clinical care and hospitalization, as well as indirect costs of lost work. And I'm going to posit that the cost of less than optimal mental health is so much higher in terms of lost potential. And that if we really optimize people's mental health in a very comprehensive way, the benefit will be much beyond 2.5 trillion or 5 trillion and really unquantifiable. So now we're going to move, Dr. Muktananda is going to give a brief intro to
life's daily challenges, have great relationships on a daily, regular basis, learn to work well, have a successful career. And one aspect of mental health that is very often neglected is realize our full potential. Of course, all of these are super critical, super important, and we tend to focus on coping with daily challenges and relationships more often than not when it comes to mental health, because that's what happens on a regular basis. They reach the age of 75 will experience mental health issues, and that is a huge number, right? That goes into the billions. And those in poverty are 2.5 times more likely to be affected compared to others. And this really says that mental health needs to start from, needs to address everybody, and it affects the disadvantaged, still the source of emotions, address the mind-body system as a whole. And Dr. Peter is going to talk about, have an entire session on how to address the mind-body system. Instead of just controlling thoughts, address beliefs. I think transforming our beliefs from life negative cognition. A key part of this is having powerful cognitions, which are deep insights about yourself and the world that help you unlock your true potential by breaking free from limiting patterns. Let's look at this a little bit more in the next slide. So next slide, please. See, powerful cognitions go beyond positive thinking. They go towards transforming our beliefs. Many of us tend to grow up with very limited view of ourselves, not due to our own faults. It's because the world, imagine in a school, a teacher evaluates students. They only have a single way of evaluating students based on their own rubric. If affirmed by research, scientific research has shown that some people can achieve something like this, which no ordinary person would think of themselves as capable of, but we are capable of extraordinary things. So a powerful cognition would be something that alters how you see it.
And this is a university that is styled after the ancient Vedic, ancient Hindu universities from antiquity. Fields of psychology, philosophy, medicine, sociology. Of course, mental health is covered very widely through this university. This has been reawakened through our chancellor, who I'm going to talk about, into Hinduism. It also has sovereign land as a sovereign state, also functions as a civilizational state and a service-based state, contributing to the communities around, and as a foundational enlightenment ecosystem for all the people that are living there. He's also revived many dimensions of Hinduism, the powers of Paramashiva, the scriptures, temple rituals, and lifestyles for enlightened living. Has revived the sacred arts university that has created 1 million deities for enlightenment ecosystems to use worldwide. And there's more than 16,000 KAILASA ecosystems functioning that provide many services to their members and the communities around them, including Andaran, giving food, growing agriculture, healing services, schooling. And then he's literally millions and millions of followers, over 1 million letters of commendation and consciousness. So some of the programs that have been brought by Swamiji are going to have tremendous effects at the cellular and physiologic level. And then I'll be talking about those researches that have been done, and then how it shows up in the mental health of participants, which you'll see some remarkable findings. And then we're going to talk about what is going on in the mind. Some of them would have already been part of this enlightenment ecosystem, would have already known Swamiji, and some of them would have been new. And so the Dr. Rao, he drew blood and measured gene expression before and after the program. And they looked at hundreds of different genes being expressed, and they found huge changes in gene expression in multiple pathways. But the ones I'm going to highlight here are the pro-inflammatory pathways, which create inflammation in the system, which will, at the cellular level, be inflammation, in fact, at the level of the organism. So based on that research, and this one was studied, the first one was published in Advances in Aging. The follow-up study was published in a journal called the Journal of Stem Cells. And based on the study, they said, let's look at telomerase activity, and let's look at peripheral blood stem cells. Telomerase is an enzyme that works to keep the cell generical, but it was around that time, they measured mitochondrial metabolism through a test called the MTT assay, which is a surrogate for cellular viability, which is specifically a product of mitochondrial metabolism. So mitochondria are the organelles inside the cell that create power for the cell, energy for the cell. And so their metabolism was increased. This is actually not a typo. You see it's 967%. It's not a typo, it's really true. Basically 10-fold increase in mitochondrial metabolism. So you would expect that to show up in a massive surge of energy. So when you put together at the cellular level, a huge surge in energy for the program. Some of the people in the program had already done similar programs and taken the initiations, and some people were new. So it was a combination. It was a convenient sample because it's through an online program. And then we did a paired and unpaired analysis. So here's what we found. So the total score for US average, total score is around 18. A higher number means more depression, more anxiety, more stress. So you want a low score in this. For the participants, the score was already much lower than average initially, which may reflect that some people had taken initiations and were involved in over 14 is stress, and the US average is 8. You can see all these graphs on the left.
You can see the line graphs is the paired, and then the bar graphs. Both paired and unpaired, highly statistically significant in all of these. So statistically and clinically, very significant improvement in people's feeling of mental health in connection with this program. And the next we looked at the WHO from participating in this program, and both statistically significant and clinically significant. The SF36, this is a very complex scale. It gives 9 total scores around physical and mental health. Again, the higher is better. We did just a paired analysis for this, and all of them were improved. 5 out of the 9 met statistical significance, and they were also clinically significant. I just included a couple graphs here. The total score, you can see it's jump. The paired analysis just missed statistical significance. The p-value is 0.51. The trend, I think, speaks for itself, but the unpaired analysis was statistically significant. So again, we see an increase in mindfulness. So then the question becomes, what are these programs? What is special about these programs that's bringing these really remarkable changes at the cellular level? Right where that is, that area would light up in the brain when you would activate his third eye, which I think is really fascinating. And then on EEG, which measures brain activity, they found complete control over brainwave activity. He could just control his brainwaves at will. There was another doctor, a neuroscientist named Acosta Urquida from Sound Health Designs in Wichita, and this was in 2005 and 2006. And they measured studied a variable called heart rate variability, which shows variability within the heart rate that reflects. He's a neurofeedback researcher who was looking at EEG. And he noticed when he got a baseline reading, he kept changing the probes and changing the settings because he said there's almost no activity on the EEG as baseline. Means when he was sitting there in a calm state, the brain was just completely quiet electrically. There was very little activity, which we will posit will correlate with a low thoughts per second, very little mental activity. An EEG of initiation looks. When a being who has attained this state of consciousness, which I'm calling as a super consciousness, that's a goal of Vedic traditions, yogic traditions, Hinduism, and they transmit it to someone they're healing or a disciple or any other person, be like an initiation. It's putting them in the same brainwave state that's going to have profound effects on their well-being. The measurement of the electrical activity in the brain through an EEG, which is like an EKG for the brain, electroencephalogram. You can see delta waves are very low frequency waves from 0.5 to 4 hertz on the bottom left. This is like when you're in deep restorative sleep, or if you were like in a coma. Theta waves, these are 4 to 8 hertz. These will correlate the raw data and see tiny little, very low amplitude up and down high frequency waves that you can't really see with your naked eye, but the computer can calculate them. And they've been shown traditionally in everyone's brain a little bit. When people have a stroke of insight, like something to look at, and they're currently working on devices using sound and light to sort of reverse engineer that state, we would posit that it can also be created through spiritual activities and mind-body interventions. The last group I'll talk about is long-term meditators. These were Tibetan Buddhists that have been meditating for 10 to 20 years, like their whole lifestyle was meditation. Like monks that would meditate for 6 hours a day, or a huge amount of meditation. This came out in 2004 by Dr. Davidson in Wisconsin, a really breakthrough publication. When they would go into a oneness and compassion meditation, they could go into sustained gamma. That's the only other time, very high level of consciousness that correlates with concepts of enlightenment that have been talked about throughout history. This level, this capacity can be built in people and built in large groups of people over time. So this is raw data of an EEG of a very high level disciple of Swamiji, and you can see gamma activity is over 30 oscillations between these two. TPS is thoughts per second, means completely quiet mind. And their whole sense of space was just completely spacious and untouched. So we're really excited about this. I think it has tremendous significance for humanity on many levels. And we're excited to research it further. So we'll be talking a little more at the end. Anyone who's out there who's listening, if you're interested in this space of consciousness and how to recreate it and measure it and study it, please call Sattvic diet and fasting. Later, another presentation is going to talk about these things. Detoxing with herbs. Puja is a ritualistic connection to higher consciousness. Yoga pada, yoga and pranayamas and meditations and kriyas will be doing all of these experiential. in this presentation. And then knowing pursuit of powerful cognitions means knowing yourself as a very powerful, connected being.
Which actually denote that kind of a state, right? So there is a meditation. We just want to take a little video about a meditation that can help you get to that state and calm your mind down. Like very often,
nothing can be compared to the unclutching. I'll just put the whole unclutching in you. Nothing can be. Compared to the unclutching process. In the initial level, you may be a little deluded here, there. Pure unclutching. Pure unclutching. Sit straight.
your stress levels down. So I would really advise you to I'm going to give you a few minutes, play some meditation music. Essentially, when he says disengage from all thought processes, one technique I use is I use the word unclutch itself. Like when I observe I close my eyes, observe my thoughts. When any thought arises, I just say unclutch, which means I disengage from associating with that thought. Typically, our thought currents are one follow the other. First, I think about my house. I'm thinking about my dog in my house, and then the food the dog didn't eat, and so on and so forth. So it's no. So are you?
You able to hear it now?
Yes.
Unclutch from your thoughts. Close your eyes and unclutch from your thoughts. More visible to you. Sometimes the blood pumping through your heart becomes more unclutched from those also. So there is as you hear things, those are also thoughts. They're triggering thoughts inside of you. So next time, just keep unclutching deeper and deeper, and you'll see this deep sense of silence coming in. So it's a great technique. You can try it anytime.
But also pathways or circuits of communication between different brain regions are important. I'm going to be showing how, so at this point, studies in depression, yoga, meditation have, kind of quantified again, we're highlighting how just lifestyle measures which cost very little to nothing, such as yoga, meditation, and diet, can make a huge impact. And it can reduce the costs associated with current treatment model based on medications, therapy, which is expensive, medications have side effects. And so we can go on to the next slide. So many studies have been done on depression, looking actually at also depression negatively impacts the basal ganglia, which is a part of the brain involved in pathways for reward, motivation, and feeling pleasure. And so we can go on to the next slide. So not only is the gray matter or the brain cells, are they affected in depression, but also very importantly, the white matter brain cells. And this can happen throughout the lifespan. So this in itself is like very groundbreaking information. And it turns out yoga and meditation, which costs nothing, can in fact regenerate areas of the brain. So they've looked at, for example, in yoga practitioners, certain regions of the brain have higher volume or more gray matter or neurons. For example, the medial and superior fear pathways. This is sometimes called it's a important part of our very primitive brain, which is there to protect us, but can become dysfunctional when we have emotional trauma and different sorts of mental disorders. And in fact, this area, interestingly, it ends up being a little bit reduced in volume, telling us that maybe anterior cingulate striatum, these are also involved in emotional processing, some of these areas. Very interestingly, the prefrontal cortex is more active in practitioners of meditation. And one thing that happens when the prefrontal cortex is activated is an important brain chemical called glutamate is released. And this then sends a signal to another part of the brain called the hypothalamus to release beta endorphins. Maybe you've heard about endorphins. These are chemicals which give us the sense of a euphoria or bliss, and may explain why many practitioners of meditation experience a sense of bliss during their meditation. Also, imaging studies have looked at the thickness of the cortex. This contains the brain cells or neurons, and it turns out they're thicker in various brain regions listed there. These are regions that are important for emotions, but tend to have a lower level of norepinephrine. This is a brain chemical associated with anxiety. And they've been shown to have increased amounts of dopamine as well. The dopamine is the brain chemical responsible for the feeling of pleasure or reward. Interested through a 12-week program of yoga, and they measured their amount of anxiety and depression before and after, and looked at a brain chemical called GABA, which is very important for regulating our mood and reducing anxiety.
And then we'll discuss these slides quickly, and then we'll have a very short video and short discussion to follow. Thank you so much, Dr. Pandav.
Hi, this is Dr. Pandav. I practice in the US near Baltimore. And thank you, Dr. Shachi, for the input. Basically, the gut-brain axis is a very important axis. These days, there's a buzzword. This is what whole food plant-based diet is. We also call it sattvic diet. So what essentially this diet does is, it is high in fiber, high in antioxidants, high in polyphenols. So basically what it does is, there is less of inflammation in the gut lining. So it reduces, all the inflammatory bowel diseases and as well as the autoimmune diseases. So in nutshell, basically, the healthy microbiome is caused by whole food plant-based diet. Next slide.
And then a discussion, so you can go very quickly.
Oh. Are we waiting for the video?
We're waiting for you to quickly go over this slide.
Okay, yeah, so inflammation is higher in some people with depression.
Biomemory. So when the animals are killed, they leave a tremendous pain, suffering. They are not going to say, let the whole world be blissful and die. No. They leave so much of suffering and die that gets recorded in that muscle memory and biomemory, When you eat that, you will fall into depression for a small reason. Your husband late from the office for 5 minutes is enough to make him as a late husband.
Summary, we've seen that the brain physiology, through functioning, structure, chemistry, and gut health are crucial for mental health. And lifestyle changes are critical and sustainable. And objective scientific information now is available showing that yoga and meditation actually expands parts of the brain which are vital for mental health. And the plant-based diet also improves that brain-gut chemistry to improve mental health. So there's various life.
But through Swamiji, I came to know about Nirahara, which is really a step above that. So essentially, it comprises of taking a liquid diet for almost like 3 weeks. And I was amazed by its benefits. What I realized was in order to digest the solid food, it uses body's energy. But when you are gone through this, and you can add further.
Yes, yes, definitely. I have done the Nirahara Samyama a few times, and this was something that's completely new to me. I think only Swamiji talks about. Yes, very much. So I wished I had. I really didn't know about any of this before Swamiji. So
I think Dr. Shivaji had an experience that she maybe would like to share about Nirahara Samyama.
Mhm.
Dr. Shivaji, did you have an experience you wanted to share?
I think you're muted, Ma. Dr. Shivaji, you're muted.
Sorry. So sorry about it. So it's other than the other benefits of what you have said, mental clarity, and you're more happier and more lighter and all that. What happened was I used to get every summer allergic reactions. So when I go to the garden, even the lawn, I'm really very bad allergy. So I had to take antihistamine all the time. And it actually affected my work style as well. So it was, I think.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know there's so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about Aushadas Harataki, a very powerful detox herb that Swamiji has recommended for us. And then Nitya Yoga is a yoga that conceived by Swamiji that has 12 components, 12 aspects of yoga, which is very unique. And of course, other yogas are also part of this lifestyle. And so thank you so much, you guys, for this discussion. We could discuss so much longer. We've met some time constraints, so we're going to move on to the next session.
And unfortunately, we're not going to be practicing any of the yoga asanas today because it's difficult to demonstrate in this particular venue. But we can try a couple of pranayama techniques that can work for you. And these are simple techniques so that your tongue is sticking out like this. And then deeply inhale through your tongue and then exhale through your nose, right? Like this. So inhale through your tongue and then exhale through your nose. You will see that this instantly, you will feel that. How many of you feel that deep cooling happening in your chest? You actually feel it there, right there. It's such an instantaneous, it works instantaneously. And you also see your mind is calmed down. To the right nostril. And after you breathe out through your right nostril completely, typically you take like almost twice as long to breathe out than breathe in. So count breathing in. If you count breathing in 5 times, breathe out till the count of 10. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close your lips. If breathing out makes you feel stressed because I'm asking you to breathe out twice as long, you don't have to do it. Just breathe out like till the count of 6 or 7. That's also okay. Whatever makes you feel relaxed. Typically, breathing in, the alternate nostril breathing actually makes you feel quite relaxed and intensely without stopping. Like as long as possible, just hum And then when your humming stops, take a quick breath, let the natural breath happen, and then start the humming again. So for example, it sounds like this. Nothing else, right? Let's try doing this for a few times. Now, while you okay, relax. How many of you could feel the humming reverberate inside your head even after the humming, you stop humming? Right? You would feel that humming inside your face and in your chest. So the more you practice it, if you do it for like 21 minutes, this humming is a very intense exercise. Great. So these are things you can practice pretty much anywhere. And these are okay. Here I'm going to talk about sustainable mental health and AI. I have practiced AI for a very long time, and I've applied AI to multiple different domains. And most recently, I've applied AI to education. And AI is an amazing area which is useful in mental health. Next slide. And the key challenge here is scale. Like sustainable mental health requires, and if you have a phone and if you have internet access, unfortunately, more and more people around the world are getting access to the internet. Having access to free spiritual AI solutions online is actually a great way for us to give mental health access to people. Let's go to the next slide. Today's AI is actually super powerful. It can be very conversational in asking questions and getting answers. And it can be very personal. It can be personalized without storing personal information. And if you have availability, like access to a phone, a smartphone, Nityananda KAILASA has developed as a scalable solution for people to ask questions and get answers. It's very easy. Go to nityananda.ai, or you can use the barcode that's available on the screen. And it's a great, you have to sign in for you to get access, but video. For example, I'm asking the question whenever I even stay at work a little bit late, I notice that I'm very anxious about how my wife will feel. What do I do about it? This AI makes use of the, if you can pause the video here, Peter, arises from separation between these two responsibilities and understanding that these two are both parts of you. And if you understand it from that wholeness perspective, you can actually handle the situation in a much better way. So it's a very powerful message that it helps you understand that you are a whole and you can't divide yourself into different personalities. About facing stress and suggesting yoga and meditation techniques. If you can fast forward this, maybe 10 more seconds. Yeah, so the next example is about, oops, we went too far. Yeah, this next section is about asking for yoga and meditation.
Health, wellness, and holistic approaches. It's my turn to talk about women's mental health issues, incident causes, solutions, and understanding the unique challenges and holistic approaches. The National Institute of Mental Health here shows during menstruation, pregnancy, postpartum, and menopause can significantly affect mood and mental health. Reproductive health issues like polycystic ovary, endometriosis, infertility can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression. Gender-based violence, women are more likely to experience domestic violence, sexual, like 55.8%. It's a pretty expensive program, spending about $104 billion US dollars a year and 217 million days of work lost. It's a big loss of work, and more women are seeking help but failed outcome. The treatment methods are making people dependent on medication, and more medication, it becomes a vicious cycle. So when we look at the modern day approaches for treatment medication, but the end results are not permanent cure, and it doesn't address the mental disorders, and usually it's only the symptom relief. The $1 trillion brain drain, that's not sufficiently addressing the disorders. And other treatments like brain stimulation can be used in special situations. So let's read this very powerful verses from Manuvati Dharmashastra, chapter 3 and verse 56. It's the law of Manu, the oldest legal text, Hindu jurisprudence, says where women are worshipped, there the gods rejoice. To the welfare of Hindu wisdom, reviving the ancient Hindu wisdom and creating a KAILASA with various projects empowering women. Let's look at details about each level, how this empowering happening at the KAILASA. These policies are mapped to the Manuvati Dharmashastra, and Swamiji revived matrilineal society to empower women here. So the political empowerment, Paramashiva declares in Atharva Veda, women should take part in US dollars have been invested in women's health at KAILASA. This is very impressive, and again, a spiritual wellness, a core indigenous cultural aspect of Hinduism is being revived as part of KAILASA by Swamiji is the mother worship. The matrilineal society that used to exist in ancient Hindu nations. It's very important to know in KAILASA, women are worshipped and revered and have a secure sexual harassment-free ecosystem due to its Zero Nityananda Lakshmi, the world's first Hindu microfinance project for women. Here it gives the economic freedom to find employment. KAILASA's Ankita program is an educational program. So it's mostly educate female. The next slide.
Only feminine.
Yeah, I think it's a video to be played. Let's hear from Swamiji, his powerful message and a description of a woman by him.
Energy can be given the word. Only feminine energy can be given the word, given the title sacred, because when it is awakened, it does so much in your. It would have been completely family-based civilization. So naturally, everybody would have had their basic needs. All the basic needs would have been supplied to the whole world. Only the feminine energy need to be awakened, only that can be called as sacred. Let me define the sacred feminine. Understand? The extraordinary creativity. Creativity will never be possessive.
I want to share only after being part of the KAILASA, multiple initiations from Swamiji, the multi-dimension of myself that we realize, and also that I want to give a true statement here to all the knights, and I do pray to Ma Parashakti and Divine Mother Energy to bless all women all over the world with excellent health and bliss, and bless me with the wisdom and energy to serve women always, and Swamiji to bless every woman all over the world. And here, The science of completion, it's one of the solutions for all mental disorders. It's a meditation technique based on the science of enlightenment revealed and taught by His Divine Holiness. And it works, prevent and treat
things coming out. And powerlessness. No, this is not for me. First of all, this may not be true. Second, no, this is, even if it is true, not for me. No, this may be true for the people who don't have to work for their food and paying the bills, knowing the happy, free life. All kinds of thought currents will come inside. Sit, have a little patience, clear and do completion. Understand? This is the initiation I am giving to all of you. Sit in front of mirror. Pen down all these patterns and fears and everything. Intensely chant Mahavagya and see the mirror and start reliving. Pen down all the incompletions, fears, anger, guilt, impossibility, patterns which tells you, no, you need to be dependent internally, externally, other than Paramashiva. Pen down all of that. Whatever patterns tells you, you need to be internally, externally dependent on something else other than Paramashiva. Pen down. Pen down.
Unique challenges for mental health. Then we have the next slide. So I have here some of the fact sheets from World Health Organization. We'll quickly go over. 1 in 7, 10 to a 19-year-old experience mental disorders. And another alarming number is 13% of this is a global burden of disease in this age group. And suicide is the 4th lead all these challenges. To address these challenges, it is crucial to address it at an early age. And prevention is one of the key components. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nityananda Paramashivam, had given solution of supplementing conventional education with Hindu case studies done on students at Nityananda Gurukul, where Hindu education system is integrated with conventional educational. Here is the result of whole brain activation studies for which Bender Gestalt test was performed. This test assesses visual motor skills development. On the next slide, we have numbers from Sloan IQ test, which is highly validated intelligent test, measures a variety of capabilities, including comprehension, arithmetic, but policies to change and integrate this education into conventional curriculum would be a good.
Really, many of their goals would be achieved by adopting this lifestyle. At NHU, the Nityananda Hindu University, we aspire to be a leader in the study of mental health, of enlightenment, and of superconsciousness. And we very sincerely and formally and informally invite any Paramashivoham program is a program that I refer to that showed profound positive effects on mental health, reduction in depression, anxiety, and stress, extreme improvement in well-being, mindfulness, and overall health. That program is ongoing. You can find it at paramashivoham.org. So we invite policymakers, we invite academicians, and other politicians, anyone to contact us to see how we can bring this to the world to attain and achieve the UN Sustainable Development.
The science of kriyas.
Blood flow, breathing air flow, thought flow. You have something called energy flow continuously happening in you.
For Kundalini energy, in the Vedic tradition, the Kundalini energy is the innate, immense potential energy in every individual that helps complete the energy circuit. How does Kundalini energy reach different parts of the body? Let us take the example of a water tank. A water tank is a structure which stores water. This water is distributed to different places through the pipelines. which forms a circuit for the flow to resume. Similarly, when there is a block in the energy circuit in the body, there is impedance to energy flow forward, and it results in disease in that particular organ. The Kundalini energy in our body is like the water in the water tank. Kriyas are powerful tools which help.
The wiring gets properly aligned. After that, the kumbhaka starts pumping the energy into that circuit. See, putting your body in certain asana makes the circuit blockage free. The circuit becomes perfect. But only through the completely, if you take, it may take 10 years for you to cure the disease. But mixed properly in certain combination, it removes the disease in 2 days, in one dosage.
The Kriyas help to restore.
It's called mantra. Externally, when you listen, it's called chanting. So, mantra, internal verbalization. Fifth, chanting, external, the sound you are hearing. And sixth, now I am adding karanas, the different Shivadandava karanas. Seventh, I am adding
3 steps. It actually builds on top of what we did before, right? Earlier we learned how to do Nadi Shodhana, which is breathe in through one nostril, breathe out through the other nostril, breathe in through that nostril and breathe out. So that's the posture. Peter will show the picture. That's the second step. In that posture, you just hum intensely. And the humming is something I already shared with you before. And the third step is lie down, and in the bliss of the hum, the humming creates intense humming in your body. It creates an elevated feeling. Just lie down with that feeling and unclutch from everything. So I've taught you unclutching like before. We started off the session with it. I taught you that alternate nostril breathing, and I with your thumb, close your right nostril, start breathing in. Then close your left nostril and breathe out through your right nostril. Then breathe in through your right nostril and then breathe out through your left. Do this 21 times. Pause the video. Can you pause the video? Great. Now, Peter, if you can move to the next slide and show the posture. Please sit in this posture and then hum intensely. Just like we said before, just hum intensely sitting in this posture. Let's do this. Breathing, heartbeat, unclutch from that also. Fall into a deep silence. Provide you with the science, but also provide you with experiential understanding of what Swamiji is trying to do at a very surface level. I mean, there is a lot of depth to the meditation, mind-body consciousness studies.
Research collaborations, funding collaborations, anything that you want to collaborate with. And we really believe that this science will absolutely 100% help the UN achieve their sustainable development goals, and are excited to further collaborate with the United Nations going forward. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and have a beautiful rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.